Oh man, there we go. The Alpine Zone. And welcome to a day of false summits. Get to the top of it, rinse, repeat, until either your sole is broken or your knees. Just kidding, it's fun. Hey everybody, Syntax 77 here. Got my lovely wife Sarah with me, but I am teasing you a little bit. I'm sorry, she's not coming along for this adventure. But let me tell you what the current situation is. As the wind is picking up right now, I am in the beautiful state of New Hampshire. I'm back in the White Mountains. I'm at the Lincoln Woods Trailhead and about to do a kind of my take on a Semi Pemi, which is basically a pretty well-known alternative to the super well-known Pemi loop. So I'll get into the details of that in a minute, but Sarah's gonna head back to work. I know, pretty rude, but she's gonna pick me up. She's gonna pick me up in 3 days. This is the middle of July. They got some wind chill advisories. Could break a record tonight on Mount Washington. We're not going there, but that's kind of our gauge for the area, and they could be going down to 31 degrees. Right now it's in the 30s up there as well.
It's July.
Oh, yeah, those ridges, they are cold. Major wind chill up there, gusts to 65 miles per hour. So we're gonna do things a little different with that Semi Pemi once I get going. Sarah, thank you for dropping me off. You're gonna pick me up, not here. Not here in 3 days, don't come here.
Yes.
Because I'm kind of have the shuttle option, she's gonna come.
A shuttle?
Yeah, she's gonna pick me up at the Liberty.
Downgraded from Uber to a shuttle.
The Liberty Trailhead. Yeah, that's a long story. We'll talk logistics in a minute, but we should get out there. Those clouds are picking up and I think it's time to get in the woods. So you don't want to leave, I can tell.
Stay warm.
Well, Lou,
Drink water.
I got extra layers because it's gonna be cold.
Be bear aware.
All right, I will.
Moose aware.
Moose
you
aware.
see moose, you must take all the photos.
I will do that.
You come back with no moose pictures, I'm not picking you up.
All right, how will you know in advance?
I have to see your phone.
All right, I'll text you moose pictures from the trailhead because I should have service there.
Yeah.
And then that'll determine if you pick me up in 3 days. All right. There she goes. And the adventure begins. And right over here, I have been here before for a winter version of this loop. This will be the first time I'm doing it in the summer. So I do know that the trail begins on the other side of a bridge over here. You see this green area here? That's the Pemigewasset Wilderness. Classic Pemi loop goes around the outside. We are going to shoot up the middle to avoid that colder weather and also just have a little more solitude, and we'll do some stealth camping, meaning unofficial trails. And then tomorrow come up to Galehead Hut and the peak, come around, going to camp near Garfield Pond, and then I'll come on the third day all the way down just about the entirety of Franconia Range, bail out here, Liberty Springs, and get picked up by Sarah there. And there it is, good old suspension bridge. So this would be my fourth time on this bridge over the course of many years. I've done 2 full Pemi loops, summer. I did that one winter Semi Pemi with snowshoes. Oh, terrible. Good memories, but terrible at the time. And this would be my Semi Pemi in the summer, but with some unseasonably colder temps, even for the White Mountains. It is, like I said, flirting with some record lows for July. Whew, man, yeah, that wind is whipping through here. It's pretty chilly right here, down here. It was about 66 degrees according to my Jeep. So that's about as high as it's going to go today. Mid 60s down to the 40s at night as we walk along this very flat and gentle way to begin things, the Lincoln Woods Trail. Anybody who's done a Pemi loop before is very familiar with the Lincoln Woods Trail. On the way in, you're like, okay, it convinces you that it's not going to be so bad because it's flat. Trust me, it doesn't stay that way, but it is pretty long way to start before you get to the main part of the loop. When you're done, you got to do it again to get back out. Believe me, it is the longest, dare I say dullest section of trail, because you've just done this epic loop. You're beat. You just want to get back and get that cheeseburger at the end of the trip, and you just got to walk this carriage path for it's probably only 1.5 miles, but it feels like 10 miles. It really does. Also, if you're wondering, when you hear the term Semi Pemi and the fact that it goes up the middle, you would think that it's basically cutting mileage, elevation, all that in half. Believe it or not, surprisingly, not necessarily the case, especially depending how you do it, which I'll be modifying mine a little bit. A full Pemi loop, the classic, goes up the bonds on one side, and the opposite side of the loop is Franconia range. Total mileage about 30 miles. Total elevation, depending on little peaks that you add here and there. Usually I hit like 10,500 feet of elevation gain for that 30-mile loop, 10.5K. The Semi Pemi is, depending on how you do it, the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to actually be around 27 miles and 8,000 feet of elevation gain. So it's surprisingly not cutting things in half, because no matter what, you got to get up on this ridge. And once you're on the ridge, then, you know, you're doing a lot of up and downs, but it adds up. I would say the lowest stats you could get away with on a Semi Pemi, probably 24 miles, 6,500 feet of elevation gain. So it's still a substantial trip. The upside is today we're going to be pretty much primarily all in the woods, hiking along some brooks, Franconia Brook and Lincoln Brook. And then there's a campsite you can pay for, AMC runs it, called 13 Falls. I kind of want some solitude and I want to save 20 bucks. So we're going to be stealth camping somewhere near Owl's Head, a peak in the middle of the Pemi Wilderness. Don't be fooled or dissuaded by the term stealth camp. There's nothing nefarious or illegal going on. It just means picking a lesser known or unestablished campsite off the beaten path, but within regulations, and then breaking camp in the morning, and it looks like you were never there. And if done right, no one will even notice you're there while you're camping. Not that you're like hiding from somebody, but because you're looking for solitude. A little rare lookout from Lincoln Woods Trail, which is kind of a green tunnel, like I was saying. But fear not, we're going to get some amazing views on this hike when we get on that ridge the second and third day. Tomorrow, for higher summits, the highs are only in the 40s. So I will still have to be cognizant of that tomorrow when we get up on the ridge. So that's why my pack weight is a little bit more. I'd say I'm not under the 10-pound definition of ultralight right now. It might be 11 something, because I have some extra warm layers, both for at camp tonight, and I have some extra layers so that I can cover everything if I am in high winds on those ridgeline trails, because they are completely exposed. Not a great place for wind, driving rain, lightning in particular, but with those kinds of temps, you could get hypothermia or at least have a really bad time, and exposed skin is going to speed that up. So believe it or not, even though it's July, I have a face mask available to me, some gloves, and a windbreaker, stuff like that. I know it sounds crazy, but even without record lows, I was up here on a July trip years ago, and it was in the 30s at night. So it happens, and things can change quick. So there's no guarantee that tomorrow isn't going to be the same as today up there. Or, well, trust me, there's mountains through those trees somewhere up there. All right, well, let's keep plugging ahead, knock out this Lincoln Woods Trail, keep my eyes peeled for an intersection on the left I'm doing no GPS or phone app or anything like that on this trip. Just map and compass. Maybe I'll explain that a little bit later, but I got to stay on my P's and Q's old school style. There's no checking the breadcrumb trail on my phone or anything like that. Got to stay alert. Liberty Spring Trail, Mount Flume. So this, if I took this, it would be the left hand or the western side of the loop. That's what I'm going to be finishing with, so I won't do that, obviously. I'm going to continue. Franconia Falls Trail is 1.8 miles up here. We've gone about 1.5 miles so far. So yeah, I guess Lincoln Woods Trail, it does take 3-point-something miles to really get into the loop. But yeah, about 2 miles from now, we're gonna jump off of this and get into a section of the Pemi Wilderness that is far less traveled. Definitely the least traveled. The main outer loop of the Pemi Wilderness, super popular. It's probably one of the best hikes on the East Coast, if not the country. I'm going to say it's one of the best hikes in the country. But if you're from the East Coast and you're into hiking, it's like a crown jewel. And in the summer, it's popping. Although there were actually some spots at the parking lot back there. So I think being midweek and maybe an iffy forecast has helped me a little bit. But yeah, this interior Owl's Head section, I think we're going to have some good solitude. A nice intact bridge. That is good. Little view over there as we cross. I imagine the day hikers are going to start to thin out now. This right here is what I've been waiting for. Pemigewasset Wilderness. And I'm probably going to often say Pemigewasset with a hard G because that's how I've almost always said it, but I don't believe that's correct. I think it's a soft G. But nonetheless, the Pemi Wilderness is ahead. Limit your group size to 10 people. Camp at designated sites or at least 200 feet away from the trail. And then there are designated sites marked with the tent symbol, which means if it violates that rule, but there's a tent symbol, it's okay. We're probably not going to be using anything like that either, though. No motorized equipment, mechanical vehicles, including bicycles, or mechanized tools for trail maintenance. All right, we're getting into it. We got another intersection here. I think this is where we're going to turn off and get even more remote and start picking up some actual elevation gain, because I've gained about 2 feet this whole time out of 1,500. Bond Cliff Trail. You would go that way if you were doing the full Pemi loop and then come out back there where I showed you before. Once again, not doing that because we're going to split straight up the middle of that loop I showed you before. 13 Falls tent site, which is ran by the AMC. But before we get to that, we're going to circumvent on this Lincoln Brook Trail. Once we get to that, it'll kind of circumvent around towards Owl's Head. And at that point, I'll be looking for some stealthy camping. Again, not hiding from anybody, technically. Just looking for a good camping area, but unofficial. It is cloudy up there, but I see some blue. And my heart rate is finally probably going to start elevating. Get a little bit more of a workout. Even this here, by White Mountain standards, is a cakewalk. This trail section here. But compared to what I was doing, it's something. So this will be a good way to ease into things, because I haven't been to the Whites for a couple years. Spent last year out west. So I'm a little nervous about how I'm going to perform on this trip. So this first day will be nice and easy. Like I said, my previous trips were out west and beautiful landscapes, but just nothing like the Whites when it comes to tough trails. And that's what we're going to get. My wife and I have been doing weighted ruck hikes just day hikes with weight in our packs. So I think that's been helpful, but it still wasn't near the probably 20 pounds with food and water that I'm carrying now. I think I was only doing 12 to 15 pounds, which would be like my base weight. Sign, what's this one? Okay. You're entering a forest protection area. So I didn't mention this, but this is possible here and there. Some of these sections, camping and fires, are prohibited despite the 200 feet rule. So there are sections like that. A lot of times it's to deal with an area that the Forest Service has deemed has been impacted too much. And also, slightly controversial thing for the whites, a lot of times it's because you're within a quarter mile of an AMC official tent site or hut, in which case they don't want you circumventing paying for services. Basically, it's like a no squatters thing. Like, for instance, if I was going to try to stealth camp tonight within a quarter mile of Franconia Falls, that would be in violation of the rules of the Forest Service. Now, I don't know what kind of fine that is or anything, because I'd have never done it, but something to be aware of. A little up and down as we go through a drainage here. Not flowing too heavy, so we should be able to easily cross this. With those temps, I just got to make sure it's not slippery. With those temps going into the 40s and being 5 miles or so only from camp, I don't want to have feet that are still wet with those temperatures. That just wouldn't be fun. Now, if it were the beginning of tomorrow, I might be less inclined to worry about it. Although, if there's wind chills up there, probably still wouldn't want wet feet. So I'm going to try to keep them dry on this trip. Perfect. Nice little area. Wouldn't be able to camp back there, but it looked pretty nice, didn't it? Yeah. Very nice. Air is getting cool, funneled through here. It's actually a little chilly, and the wind's picking up. I don't know if that's the actual system doing that, or if that's just how it naturally flows through this area. I can feel a definite change in the air. Trees are swaying. And I don't know specifically when those 65-mile-per-hour gusts are going to occur. I just know it was a warning for the day in general. With all this tree cover, we would never get that, but it's all relative. If it's 65 mile per hour up there, and I think it said 30 to 50 mile per hour sustained with the 65 gusts. If it's like that up there, you know, you would still feel something, or at least see the treetops moving pretty wicked. Listen to me with the Boston vernacular from being up here. But yeah, it could still make things interesting even at our elevation for sure. Trail's actually starting to meander a bit, winding around, probably because we're truly and more closely following along the brook. It's really nice. Well, if I can if I can see where I'm going here. It's getting a little harder to follow, but nothing major. But yeah, it's nice to be back in New Hampshire, without a doubt. Just feels good. The cool air feels good. Seeing the sights feels good. Sound of the brook sounds good. And it looks like there's actually a little field out here. Although, yep, I think I'm on a game path. There's no way the trail goes through there, I don't believe. So it might have crossed over back here. What? I'm just going to go with the map. I'm going to look at my map and see what's going on. I got a brand new map. AMC waterproof Tyvek map. And if you're wondering why I'm strictly doing this, a few trips ago, if any of you saw my Alabama adventure, solo adventure, I lost GPS on that trip, and it was due to a aging battery bank that died really early. But it's also come to my attention now that my phone is very old, and I love it, it still works, but the battery has just gotten to the point where it's shot. So I'm tearing through battery life trying to use that thing as a GPS. So I'm not relying on it at all. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I don't have like the phone ready to go. If I really need to in a pinch, I can turn the GPS on and find out where I am, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to check the map out, and that should just show me, I don't know exactly where I am, but it should show me if this crosses the water. All right, so where are we here? Came up Lincoln from the visitor center, went up Franconia Brook Trail. We're looking for the intersection with Lincoln Brook, and look at that there. It does. We crossed the water once there, twice there. Now we're real close to it. Okay, we must be right here. So, okay. 1, 2, 3 crossings. Yeah, I think we hop over it. We're probably right here. So I'm gonna go back over here and look for a crossing to the other side. And then that means we should be not terribly far from the Lincoln Brook Trail on the left hand or western side of us. Okay. I think it's over there. Here we go. Perfect. Sometimes you'll see a pile of rocks on the other side to give you a heads up, which technically not permitted in a wilderness area, but people do that. And there are trail runners that knock them over as well. But here we are on the other side, and look at that. That looks like a human footprint, doesn't it? I think it does. So we're back on track. No battery sucking GPS required. And look. So, looks like I turned off the wrong spot again, but it is that way, I promise. Look at that though, that's kind of weird. All the water is draining into this hole in the ground and disappearing somewhere. It's not coming from there because that's going downhill. So somewhere that is creating an underground spring or coming out somewhere. Kind of interesting to see. But let's turn back around and see where the trail really is. Huh. All right, I'm overthinking this. This is when you just go back to where you came from. And that's what we're gonna do. Just keep on walking until you are clearly on the trail. And right now, we are. That's where I came from. And we're gonna use a fresh set of eyes. Because we went down there, and clearly I was not the only one who did that, because there was a lot of footprints in the mud over there. But I think we go over here. There's our established trail. Here's where I went wrong over here. See some logs to walk on. I hope this is worth it. Yeah, that looks like what would be a trail right there. I'm hoping, as long as I can get across this, okay? And if I do go in, whatever. Whoop, don't step on that. Jesus. Whoop, whoa. This is really precarious. I think I have a better idea. Just go like this. Okay. The heck with that log. Let's see what we got over here. Yep, this is it. This is a trail. Beautiful. All right, so back on it, and it is steep now. Very steep, at least compared to what I have been doing. Well, compared to tomorrow, probably not, but steep. Whoa, and Rudy. Whew. Okay. Crisis averted. But maybe that little debacle is a clue that I should take my first break, because it's been over an hour, and I was attempting. I already broke the rule myself. I was going to try to stick to an hour on feet and then 10 minutes off for moderate terrain like this, and then for strenuous stuff like tomorrow, 40 minutes on feet, 10 minutes off. And I've gone past that. I haven't had a water break or a off my feet break yet, so let's go ahead and do that with my fuzzy mic stuck to my head, because I usually keep it on my pack. And if you're wondering about the earbud, I'm still using my device for audiobooks, podcasts, stuff like that, especially when I'm taking a break. I'm not doing no electronics. I'm just doing no GPS. The little Bluetooth for the headphone, I should be okay on batteries. That's good. I picked this spot because it was nice and sunny. And as soon as I got my pack off, the clouds came, and now I'm sitting in the dark again. But at least it's nice and cool. So I'll have this. I'm still burning off my late breakfast. Didn't start the trail till like 11:30 today, but sunset's not until 8:22, and then sunrise about 5:30, 5:20 in the morning. So plenty of daylight left, because it's 1:15. So just been doing somewhat relaxed paced, and got lost once, you know. What are you gonna do? It wasn't that bad. It really was pretty quick. Little diversion, but yeah. Enjoy my water. Enjoy this stump. I think I got 8 minutes left, and then I'll get back at it. It's hard to believe that I solo snowshoed this back in 2020, mid-March 2020. But I did, so compared to that, I'm making great time. That was pretty rough. That was like fresh snow. I mean, going up to the knees, sometimes mid-thigh. And usually, you know, like if you've never snowshoed, breaking trail, as they call it, that just means that you're the first person on untouched snow, basically. And that's the toughest part. And usually when you're with a group, you rotate who has the terrible job of breaking trail. But when you go solo on a trail that is seldom used, like these middle trails that we're on today, with a ton of snow, it was exhausting. I think, honestly, I would have been better off doing a winter of the whole Pemi, because at least then I would be on the harder packed, windswept, icy sections with some crampons instead of trudging through snow. So lesson learned. If I do anything Pemi again in the future on snowshoes, I might just do the full Pemi, or I might do neither. I don't know. But in retrospect, I think I actually chose a harder route coming through here. But no snow this time, so have my water and get back on it. Bingo! Lincoln Brook Trail goes up behind me here. Lincoln Brook Trail is 7 miles long. We're going to go halfway to, see, there it is. It goes like that instead of going straight up. So extra mileage, but right around halfway, 3.5 miles at the spur trail to Owl's Head. We're not going to go up to Owl's Head, but around here, there should be some camping from what I've read. Hope so. So fold that up, put it back away, and we'll get back at it. So that means I can say with authority, GPS or not, 3.5 miles left to go for today. And should have plenty of time at camp. It always seems to go really fast once you do chores and whatnot. I will be allowed to have a fire if I so desire. That doesn't mean that I necessarily will, because you know, things are damp around here, especially in these areas that just get shade all day, or at least that's how it feels. Like they're shaded most of the day, hence all the moss. If you do find wood, it can be really wet during all seasons around here in my experience. And sometimes if it's not a survival situation, I just don't have the patience to do it. I've shown plenty of trips where that's the case, and people are like, how can you camp without a campfire? Sometimes you can. If you're tired and hungry enough, you know, walking around to collect firewood that's an energy suck in itself. It can be fun, it's entertaining, but it's just, you know, you can burn a lot of time and calories just to get that fire going. And if it's not winter and necessary to survival, sometimes I skip it. But we'll see if that's the case this time or not. Little pine needle walkway beneath me and up towards Owl's Head, which, by the way, no view from Owl's Head. It's just a peak that you can bag, but it's just trees up there. I'm telling you, those bridge walks are nice, and we will get to those. And they are mind-blowing, but don't underestimate throwing in some wooded trails on your adventures up in the Whites. Just add some variety. It's a nice little spice to the trip to throw in trails like this, in my opinion, if that means anything. All right, well, it looks to me like this is a pretty wide crossing, and I think I would spend all day trying to find a way to not get my feet wet. I don't think it's going to be worth it. We'll just hope that the feet dry out in the next 3-ish miles, because I don't think we have a choice. Luckily, these Wildcats, Las Sportivas, they are super fine mesh and they dry fairly quick, and I have some pretty thin merino wool socks. So yeah, I think we just got to go for it. I'm assuming the trail's over there. I can tell on the map that it crosses. And if it doesn't, then this is a big mistake. But I'm fairly certain this is what we got to do. Oh man, that's cold. I hope that my knees don't freeze off. So here we go. Whoa. Oh boy. Yep, that's cold. And that was really slippery too. So I got to be careful. Luckily the current does not feel too insane. So that's good. Little more current here. Slippery, slippery, slippery. I just don't want to dump my pack in this water. Oh, that's really deep right there. Okay. Guess we're going over here. Oh yeah, that's some current right there. Woo! Okay. Please don't be too slippery. Whew. My God. Oh, okay. Man, my feet are frigid. And the water actually, relative basis, probably not that cold, but it felt like it. All right. Yeah, this is the trail. There's somebody's socks that they forgot to... How would you forget to put them back on? Maybe they took them off and crossed the river and didn't come back. I don't know. This is good. Okay. Whew. I hope these things dry before it hits 40 tonight. Yes, I do. Okay. Well, let's get a nice, decent pace. Look at that. Wonder if there used to be a cable bridge across that or something. There's a big old hunk of metal, some cables. Yeah, I bet you at one point, maybe there was some sort of cable situation. Not anymore. Well, looks like we gotta do it again very shortly after. And the map does seem to confirm that. So over there, looks like the trail again. Try to make my way down. Looks like the best action would be, well, maybe over here. Whew, all right, I'm adapting. My feet are getting a little more used to the cold, I think. And luckily it was only that one section right there. Look at that sun come out, but it's just that section there I had to do. All right. And I'll be honest, I knew there was going to be water crossings, but I did not mentally jot down how many times. A couple or more, so I could look at the map again, but either way, wasn't able to keep feet dry on that one either, and that's okay. Yeah, it's funny, I hate to admit it, but I'm looking at the paper map and I find myself a couple times, I'm not lying, I'm not making this up, trying to go like that. Didn't quite get to the point where I really put my hand on the paper and thought it was going to zoom in, but the thought crossed my mind. Kind of ridiculous. All right, well, that's all right. I'm slowly getting used to the paper only. But yeah, it's funny. Some of the spots, like the trail follows so closely to the water that you can't really tell exactly, is that crossing there or is it just getting real close to it? But it looks like we might have one more. As I navigate the rocks in my wet shoes. Well, Owl's Head Path, the summit path, should be getting close at this point. It's a 3.5 miles on this section, which means either I walked past it or we're getting close to it. Got a pile of rocks here, as we discussed earlier. Usually they're not that big. That is a pile. A lot of times it's just 5 or 6 stacked up. To give you an indicator of something, no official trail sign though. I'm guessing, so on my map there's the official Owl's Head Path. From doing research at home on Caltapo computer, GPS program on my desktop, there was something called Owl's Bushwhack or something like that. This might be that. So I'm going to continue on, and I'm thinking that will be the official trailhead, but it's this general area that I'm going to look for camping. Somewhere in between that official and unofficial trail. I'm just going to keep my eyes peeled. And I'm also going to look for any meandering paths into the woods that look like more than an animal trail. Because remember earlier I gave you my personal interpretation of stealth camping. Well, another personal belief of mine is, even if you set out with the intention of stealth camping, if you see an already established but legal campsite, by all means take it. I mean, unless it's totally just not your vibe, then move on. But why create more work for yourself if it's a campsite that looks good? So I'm going to look around for clues of that, and just see what happens. And also, I should say, a lot of people would say you should take that campsite that's already there because that's overall going to be less impact. Even if you're super leave no trace, it's going to be less impact than creating a new area. Personally, I'm okay with that. You know, I think in national forest, if you go out into, if you want to go a half mile off trail to get some solitude, by all means do it as I walk off the trail. Go for it. National forest, not national park, but national forest. It's your land. I think it's your right to go off trail and get deep in the woods, but I'm gonna try to stay somewhat close to the trail, but over 200 feet. So just gonna start keeping my eyes peeled at this point and see what happens. Looks like we're going uphill again a little bit as the sun lights up the moss. That's nice. Whew, man. And actually, in short order, we are way above the water. I mean, I hear it down there, but we're feels like a couple hundred feet above it all of a sudden. I'm assuming we dip back down to it. Yeah, it's interesting. We're running parallel to it, but hopefully it drops down soon, because I do like to have some water nearby for camp. Tell you what though, starting to think maybe that pile of rocks really was the official Owl's Head path, because I feel like I've been hiking longer than I should have. Again, my paper map doesn't have that bushwalk trail on it, but if I remember correctly from the computer, they weren't that far apart. The trail is a lot less used looking, and I was seeing a decent little smattering of day hikers returning from Owl's Head, and that has disappeared now. Time is 4:11. Wow, where did my time go? I should have been at camp by now for sure. The good news is, ultimately, I'm heading in the right direction. I'm still keeping an eye out for campsites, opportunities. It's very rocky around here. I haven't seen any anyway. And the more miles I do today, the less I got to do tomorrow. Although I am eating into my time at camp as we go. But it's not the end of the world. So I'll just, maybe I passed it, maybe I didn't. Doesn't really matter though. We're gonna find somewhere to camp. Got some trickles of water right in the trail. That's nice. And I am occasionally getting close to the main brook down there, here and there. So not too worried about it. The only thing to keep in mind is if I really hoof it and do almost the entirety of the 7-mile Lincoln Brook Trail, I do run the risk of eventually getting too close to 13 Falls, near the intersection where this terminates, this trail. But all part of the adventure, and still not going to turn the phone on to spot check myself. Just going to go with it. So hopefully something pops up soon. Quiet without that water. We've left that behind. Now, ironically, we're starting to get into an area that looks more promising for camping. And if it was the end of the day, I could make something happen in here. Trust me, I have done tighter, weirder spots, particularly because I have a hammock. If you're going to a tent site in the Whites, I've done that with hammocks in the off season as well, like winter and stuff. There are trees on some of the tent platforms or near them. But I'd say the tent, if you're definitely going to a tent site, that's the way to go. If you're trying to stealth, I think hammock's the way to go, because there's no way I'm sleeping on the ground around here. You see how dense that is, all those rocks, undergrowth, sticks. But if I trudged around enough, I could probably find a desperate spot for a hammock. But it wouldn't be like ideal camping, and we're not quite at that point in the day. So I'm not going to do that. But this is starting to look like better, and I can actually see 200 feet away from the trail or so I can get an idea of what I'm getting into before I walk over there. But keep moving, see what happens. Whew, it's getting interesting in here. I'm thankful for the occasional log planks to walk on, or in this case right now, actual just logs that have either been fallen or pushed into the trail. But it's slow going. It is slow going for sure. Very wet. I see another little bridge up there. That's good. Yeah, this is getting a little tricky. Very, very wet and tricky. It's nothing impossible, but it'll make you go slow. I kept pushing past that clearing back there, and maybe I shouldn't have, but I just kept on moving. Now it's pushing up on, well, later in the day. If I can get myself over to this plank here. Come on. Oh, there we go. Where does this go now? This is crazy. Now, sure, I could have read the AMC mountain guide a little closer on Owl's Head. But, you know, there's nothing dangerous on this trail, so I wasn't super worried about it. But this is a surprise to me because I didn't read up on the full trail description. It's getting interesting, and it's very dense again. So I'm just moving and moving and moving, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Man, how do we do this? It seems stable. That's gonna break. Nope, it didn't, but my feet are still wet. Okay. My feet were dry. Well, relatively. Wet again. That's okay. Yeah, definitely not many people using this trail. I think the first half is used by people from the visitor center that I started from to go to Owl's Head. And then it drops off significantly. And there's not going to be any camping in here. Don't slip. Making progress. Making progress.
Making progress.
And if you're wondering, well, did I bring like a $20 bill, a couple tens, something, so I could pay to stay at a campsite if I had to? Nope. No, I didn't. So we're sticking to the plan. It is starting to flatten out again, which is nice. And there's flowing water around here. And it looks a little more open over there. But unfortunately, I also went all the way down that way and started getting really not too confident that I was on the trail anymore. So I backtracked to here. I really just want to get an idea of where the trail picks up again, because I wouldn't feel, I don't know why, but I wouldn't feel comfortable sleeping all night knowing in the morning I don't really know what the trail situation is. But I backtracked to here. A little tip for you. This is a federal wilderness area, so you're not allowed to do trail markings. There's no blazes on the trees at all. But you'll notice here, this has clearly been hit with a saw, these branches. So this is most likely the trail. It's just super wet. So I was starting to worry that I was just walking in a runoff. It's not too well used, so there aren't footprints anymore. Matter of fact, if you see any, it's because it was me trouncing around. And there's also, I don't see them now, but yeah, like up here, there are some trees that have been clearly cut with a saw right in the middle of what is probably the trail. But it gets real tough to follow down here. And I think it's just because it's flooded out. So yeah, I was thinking over there might be a good area, but maybe I'm making excuses to keep moving, but this is right where it gets weird. There's just nothing going on as far as a footpath. It just doesn't feel like they'd make you walk down the middle of this, but perhaps. Sometimes I have it, oh, another cut tree. Okay, I'm feeling much better about that. I have to admit, sometimes I have a thing where I lose the trail a little bit, and it's funny how you can zone out and not lose the trail, but once I notice that I feel like I might have lost the trail, I start overthinking things. And sometimes it is better to just stick with it instead of backtracking, but If you don't have a landmark like a stream, you don't want to push that too far. And see if it turns into a dirt path anytime soon. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to turn around again, but that might be some footprints there. I think that's might be tread. I'll just keep following this. Now that I left the potential camping behind, but this is starting to feel like the trail again. You probably don't believe me because I'm saying it for like the 15th time, but I'm really going to start to get less picky, pardon me, about my camping options, and just get set up somewhere with the hammock soon. Real soon, I believe. The trail's taking a little bend. Plus, I do have a compass, remember. I'm not completely relying on just the map, of course. I'm pretty sure I do know where I am on the map at this point. It looks like there's going to be one more crossing. And in that area, from looking at the topo lines on this, it does look like a bit of a shelf. Might be a flat area to camp and have water. Look at that stream crossing, and that should be my indicator that I'm in the little flat area. Well, here we are, we got a little gorge. This is definitely a water crossing. I think I can make it across here though, carefully. And then I'm gonna start, I'll see which way the trail goes, and I'll go the opposite way on the banks to get 200 feet away and just hope for something flat. All right, let's get at it, because it is getting late in the day. Ah, shoot. Look at this. 13 Falls tent site. You're entering forest protection area. Camp only in numbered tent sites. Another sign will mark your exit. Well, this confirms that I am right here. Hold on. Lincoln Brook. Okay, I'm right here. So, yeah, I'm not gonna go this way because otherwise I would have to totally overshoot. And yeah, it's 625. I don't like that. So I'm gonna try to go back up this way and then up and look for something on the ridge that's not in the forest protection area and 200 feet off the trail. Time for a little bushwhack, I guess. It is dense, very dense, as expected. But let's see what we can find. A little bit to go, maybe 50 feet or something to get 200 feet clear of the water, but this is generally going to be where I'm going to camp, so I'm just going to trudge around here and call it. Finally get this pack off. Got my quilts in there, I got my hammock with the partial bug net. No bugs are really out right now. I got my inflatable pillow and my down is lofting up. So everything's good with this for right now. I can adjust it a little bit. I showed a lot of camp setup and whatnot in my previous Smoky Mountains video, and then even the previous Alabama video. So I'm going to spare going too deep into camp setup and gear on this one. Just going to focus on the actual trails themselves. But you can go back to those previous videos if you want to see more about my setup, my daisy chain, hammock suspension, and whatnot. But right now, told you time to fly. It is, yeah, we're down to like an hour before sunset. I trudged around for a little bit trying to find somewhere that was properly off the trail, but also in a decent place and not too far from the water where it'd be a pain to find it or get down to it. In addition to that, speaking of the time, I want to go fill up water right now because I don't want to risk not finding my tent site in the dark or stumbling around too long looking for it. So that's what I'm going to do. I do have a little light beacon on one of my USB chargers. I've done that before. You can hang that from a ridgeline. You'll have some light. So if it's dark after you do some camp chores, you can actually see where your tent site is. You just hang it from a ridgeline or something. a little USB light. But I think we got plenty of time, not a whole lot, but plenty of time. So I'm going to grab my water filter and fill up my water bottles. I don't think I'm doing a fire tonight. It's going to be dark pretty soon. I'm just going to start focusing on eating dinner and getting some food in me for tomorrow. So I'm going to need water to do that. That's what I'm going to go do right now. Well, this is weird and definitely a first. But this Catadine B-Free filter, I just used it like a, I don't know. I guess it's been a couple months in storage, but it was only on a few trips. The last place I got water must have been terrible, because it is completely, I'm finally getting a trickle. It is really seized up. Luckily, I do keep iodine tablets in my first aid kit, and I double checked. I know they're in there before each trip. Well, I haven't used them in a while, so I know they're there. Worst case, I can just drop a couple iodine tablets in here. I do have to wait half an hour, but then I can just treat a bottle of water. I think what I will do now is I'm going to bring my water to a boil to rehydrate my Mountain House dinner, so no problem there. I'm just going to use water out of here in a pot, bring it to a boil, let this sit, see if it comes back to life. If not, then I guess we're just doing iodine water treatment for the rest of the next couple days, 2.5 days. I think I got enough for that though. They're very small. I even have some tablets that neutralize the iodine flavor and color afterwards. So it tastes pretty good. Darn. That is, yeah, I don't have the patience for that. There is a slight trickle now, but I'm putting almost too much pressure on it to even get that. I'll let it sit, see if it comes back to life. In the meantime, guess we're just gonna dip right in the stream. There we go. I'll cook with that, and if that guy doesn't come back to life, drop a couple tabs in it, be done with it. But I am hungry. I'm going to go back up here, get the cook set, get some dinner cooked. Maybe I'll set the beacon light up and come down here for dinner, because it'll stay light out here probably an extra half hour at least. But yeah, okay, dinner time. Oh man. Dinner is served. The sun has set. There's a little bit of twilight out there, but it's not going to last too long. So I'm going to eat closer to camp. I'll be careful not to drop anything. And I got my bear bag line already up, set up. So I'll throw my food bag in the air. Maybe have a snack a little while after dinner and a audiobook or something. But that'll be that. Successful day. Ended up doing about 12 miles. I'll shave some off tomorrow. But all the elevation is still there because we came all the way down to this water. So I think we still got 4,000 feet tomorrow. It's just going to be maybe 6 miles instead of 9. Should put us at camp at a decent time, but what I'm really trying to say is I'm going to probably prioritize putting some calories in me and getting to bed sooner than later. This is a new one from, well, new to me from Mountain House. I've never tried it. Mashed potatoes with chicken. It's exactly how it sounds. Chunks of chicken and mashed potatoes. Let's see. I think I probably should have scaled the water back a little bit, but Woo. Oh my God. That is crazy hot. That is still very hot. I was a little concerned because, yeah, it's 53. So it hasn't cracked into the 40s yet. I believe by tomorrow at 4 a.m. or so, yeah, we'll be in the 40s. Probably low 40s, I'm guessing. Although we're a little lower elevation than I planned on being. So that'll help me. But I got some long underwear on. I got all my layers up top. I'm all bundled up. I got a knit hat. Can't speak. I got a knit hat. Wow. I think it's all right. I'm only having a stroke. I got a knit hat, like a ski hat that I'm going to wear to sleep in. And yeah, on that note, how about we catch up in the morning? I'm going to enjoy my dinner, get a little shut-eye, and then we'll see what kind of weather we wake up to in the morning. Good morning, everyone. Little after 7 o'clock. Nothing like waking up with the sun hitting your face. Slept pretty good. It is currently, we're up to 50 degrees, just crossed the 50. I checked the low, it looks like it went to 44 degrees. So, not as cold feeling as I thought it would be, but I ended up falling asleep in all my layers. Long underwear and my little pullover and my flannel shirt. So no issues with chilliness at all. Had a little bit of breeze coming from behind me that I was a little nervous about when I first got in bed, but just by having the hammock kind of up around me like that, and I had the bug net, semi bug net pulled down over my face, it kind of cut the breeze down. I didn't feel it at all. But when I would stick my hand out to like grab something on the ridgeline, I would feel the difference. So I had a little microclimate going in here, even with just a half bug net. It kept me pretty warm. I'm feeling pretty good. So I think I'm going to slowly get up, make some coffee, see if I'm hungry enough for breakfast. I should eat something, but could always get something on the trail too. Didn't put the tarp down, and that was fine. No precipitation, so that worked out. It'll be really easy to break down camp today. Just pack away the hammock, put the tarp back in the pack, and I'll be back on the trail pretty quickly. Of course, we are about 3 miles ahead of schedule, so that's good. But yeah, I'll still try to get moving, because I have a tendency to let the morning slip away by just hanging out at camp a little too long, and we do have some work to do. So some elevation in front of us. Yep. So I think I will indeed get up, get the shoes on. They're a little damp still, but not too bad. They should dry out now that we have some sun. My water filter never did come back to life. A slight trickle, but just way too slow for anything. So there's my water. I put the iodine tablets in it, and that did give it like a yellowish color, and there's a slight taste to it. But then I put these secondary tabs in there, and it neutralizes the iodine. It's back to looking crystal clear. Tastes like spring water, so that's good. Guess we better get the day started. All right, officially back on the trail. Camp is broke. I was a little further back there than I thought, just because I did a decent amount of trudging around last night. But I am back to the trail now. That's where we crossed the water last night. And then I have two choices to ascend up to the ridge. And we'll take a look at the map, decide what we want to do for our little modified Pemi loop, day 2. A lot more sun today. I can tell that already right off the bat. It's just a lot less cloud cover and the sun's actually poking through in here. It's pretty nice. Of course, as usual, didn't get my butt in gear and on the trail until about 9 a.m. despite waking up at 7:15. But that's okay. I don't think time is going to be super critical today. I want to have some contingency for how things go, but I think 9 a.m. is going to be an okay start. I mean, we got until 8 tonight before it gets dark again. Hike out's pretty nice. A lot of little mini waterfalls and water flumes along the trail here. Looks like a big rocky section there, but I don't see water flowing. Let's check it out. I wonder if this is a crossing. I do believe it is. Ooh, I'm gonna have to take off this extra layer. That sun is beaten down. It's probably not even 60 degrees yet, but the sun feels really good. Plus I'm moving now. Wow, look at this. This is cool. Not sure where the trail goes. I'm thinking over there. Should be easy to hop around. What a nice area, and look at that little mountain ridge right there. All right, well, let's see how to get across this. Oh, weird. What the hell's going on there? Moving some dirt? They're digging out, or that's weird, a bucket. A mound of dirt on a tarp. And it looks like they're digging around the roots of this tree. Why on earth is this occurring? Like a moat. What would be that important around this tree? That's odd. Don't know the reason for that. I came off on the other side. I took kind of a weird route across, so I came up behind the trail. I don't know what they're doing there, but I see the sign from behind here. Oh, 13 Falls tent site right here. Okay. Over there. I think we're going to go up this way. So let's take a look at the map real quick while we got some sunlight poking in here. I'll show you what our options are and what I'm going to do. So there we go. This here, my thumb, is the 13 Falls tent site. And you can see two trails going up to the ridge. You got this Franconia Brook Trail, and then over to the right of it, you got the Twin Brook Trail. If you look up a lot of instances of Semi Pemi, I don't know if it's truly more popular, but like for instance, if you put it into all trails, it'll have you go up this left one, Franconia Brook. It will save you some mileage and elevation, and it'll dump you right at the base of Mount Garfield. In my case, I'm going to take the Twin Brook instead though, and that's going to put me up on Galehead Mountain, and we can take a look at the Galehead Hut. If you've never seen one of those, they're the AMC huts in the mountains up here where you can basically rent a bunk for the night. You don't have to bring a tent or anything, as long as you're confident you're actually gonna make it to the hut. So we're gonna go up to that, and then I'll cut across, right? And That'll get me to this same area I would have been dumped out at. We'll do Mount Garfield, come down, and then there's a pond over here that is legal camping, but unofficial. And I've used that in the past. It works pretty good. And that'll be today. It doesn't look like much, but it should still be 6 miles and a ton of elevation, about 4,000 feet. And then tomorrow we'll do the other side of the ridge, and I'll dump out for pickup. Right now, that means we are beginning the initial ascent of the day. Over the course of about 2.5 miles, it looks like 2.6. We're going to go up almost 2,000 feet from here specifically. So I hope my energy level holds me up, but at some point I will stop and cook up probably a mountain house for a late, higher calorie, later breakfast. It would be nice to do it up there on the ridge, but we'll see if I have the energy to get there through this initial push without any food. I have a couple snack bars on me, small stuff like that I could wolf down as I go. Mostly roots instead of rocks, decent amount of dirt, which is nice. But we're definitely going pretty steadily up as we get closer to tree line, which is basically where the conditions are not favorable to trees anymore. They're going to start getting smaller and smaller and then eventually disappear, which means there will be less decaying organic matter to make dirt and whatnot. And if there was, it would get blown away. So undeniably, it will get rockier as we go. But for now, at least I got a little mix of dirt under my feet. Yeah, that'll get the quads warmed up for sure on this Twin Brook Trail. 2.5 more miles of this. But we will get a view. First sign of moose poop. Looks semi-fresh. It's been sitting in the sun, so it's drying out a little quicker, but yeah, first I've seen that. I did have what looked like a couple moose hoof prints nearby camp yesterday, but I haven't seen any droppings till now. So I'll have to keep my eyes peeled, get that photo for my wife, but honestly, me running my mouth is diminishing my chances. Whew, all right, back to watching my footing here. I actually did pass an AMC maintenance crew. About 5 of them with hard hats and gear down there. And I only say pass because they were taking a break. I don't think I would have passed them otherwise. You got to be in pretty good shape to do that job, carry all that equipment, hand saws. If there's a log across the trail, you got to chop it with an axe because it's wilderness. Pretty intense work, I assume. But that was cool to see them out there. This is cool too. We're on like a little mini ridge. Wind's picking up. We're definitely getting up there though. Yeah. Getting steep and scrambly in this section at least. There we go. I'll try to pick a route that makes sense here. Nice to see some sunshine too. Just check my thermometer. We're up to like 54, 55. So we don't have that much more elevation to go. Looks like hopefully won't be as low of an ambient air temperature as I was worried about. Summit of Washington, sure, that's probably 40. But I think we might luck out with about 10 degrees warmer here. If I can get through this. Just looking forward to breaking out above tree line here. Galehead Hut. Let's tag that. It'll probably have some water too, because I don't even have much to cook with anyway. And then we'll come back here to Galehead Mountain. And so we're practically there for the first goal of the day. All right, let's see what it looks like. All right, had a quick lunch, and now I am reluctantly backtracking. Mile round trip, maybe 500 feet of extra elevation gain, but now that I'm fueled up at lunch, I think I'll go for it. I've never done Galehead before. It's a 4,000 footer, so might as well go for it. All right, regretting it already. Not really, but this is probably the steepest stuff all day, and I'm doing it as a bonus. It doesn't have to be part of the route, but I've never done Galehead before, and just the other night, my wife and I were in a store. We saw a map of all the 48 4,000 footers in New Hampshire. Sorry, I'm out of breath. And she said, have you done all of them? I was like, no. A lot of people check them all off, like a checklist. I've never done it. I never thought that I'm really that close. But I have been coming here almost 15 years now, so we were looking at the list. I'm like, I think I'm pretty close to all of them. So, might as well hit this if I'm right here. And I'll have to sit down someday and see where I'm really at. Okay. Outlook. We're not at the summit. I'm not sure if the actual summit has a view or not. But oh my, there's a view right here. Look, there's the hut. That's where we just came from. I really don't, it didn't feel like 500 feet. I think I read my map wrong. Plus, well, I guess I'm not technically at the top. But either way, it didn't take long at all. And look at that. Really cool to see where we came from. That mere minutes ago. I mean, I lunch breaked until after 12 and it's 12:16. I think it was 10 minutes. That's cool. Okay, I almost passed this up. And I have many times. I've come right by here a good amount of times and never done it. So speaking of that, if I do care about my the 48 list, view or not, we should go up there and tag that. So soak this in for a second. Look down there, over that way. You can see the ridge we're going to be going up on. Mostly tomorrow. I think it's kind of blocked from view, but Garfield will be over here. We'll come down. There's some lowlands and then up again on Franconia. Whew. Very cool. All right, well, time to touch the actual summit. And then we head right back down with all the water I filled up with that I probably should have just done after this, but that's okay. Bonus tip though, piped in from somewhere, fresh drinking water at the hut. I don't know if it's coming from a spring or, I don't know how they're doing it, but they have a faucet that's drinkable and comes right out. Pretty convenient. And I carried several pounds of it up here for no reason. I guess just because I want to work out. All right, let's go. Well, that answers that question. It's a pile of rocks, which is fine. We just got an awesome view, but that means this right here is truly the summit. Whew. Did it. All right, well then possibly, let me see, 12:23. A little after 12:30, be back at the hut and we will continue on the loop. All right. Thank you, Galehead. Enjoyed it.
I am reluctantly backtracking.
All right. Let's not make any wrong turns here. Here we go. We are going to go this way to the Garfield Ridge Trail towards Gale River Trail. There is a Garfield tent site in 2.7 miles, but I'm going to go about a half to no more than a mile past that downhill towards that pond where we can do some, in this case, I'll call it stealth camping, but it's not exactly a secret, that area. If you've done this loop or area more than a couple times, you're probably aware of Garfield Pond as an option. But yeah, here we go. About our halfway point for today, both in terms of mileage and elevation. From this point on, it's going to be a little more up and downish as we get over Garfield. So we'll be in the trees a bit and then back on the ridge. Also, pretty cool experience I had. I was having lunch at the hut up there prior to doing the summit and met a viewer from Pennsylvania doing basically what I remember fondly. About an 8-hour drive up, do the loop, get it done, 8 hours back. I've done that many times, so that was cool to meet him and the fact that he was from PA. All right, this is getting rocky. I better pay a little more attention to these rocks. It's like a constant puzzle, where to put your feet. Oh man, I feel like I remember this scramble. Oh, that's weird, it's coming back to me. I was right here. We've been hearing a helicopter for a while, and we were wondering what was going on. It seemed like it was like hovering, not just traversing the area. And an AMC worker, not necessarily maintenance, hut worker, whatever, came flying by me at an impressive pace. And I forget if it was her or another one of her coworkers or somebody else that had talked to her, but basically told me somebody was having medical emergency. I think it turned out it was like a allergic reaction to something they ate. Anyway, it was right here. She flew past me. That memory just popped right back up. When we got to the top of Garfield, we could actually see him lowering a basket to get her out of there. And on that positive note, I do believe we're starting to go uphill pretty heavy now, again. I'll break out here eventually, I guess. There we go. Woo! Made myself dizzy. Look at that. A little bit further away from that mountain range I was pointing at before. Ah, breeze feels good. Yeah. That was a section right there. Holy moly. Okay. half-mile from a tent site. It means we're pretty close to where I want to camp at the pond. Mount Lafayette, that's tomorrow, 4.4 miles. There is a little spur trail to Mount Garfield. I know we're going to get some views there. I got burned off my lunch already. Oh, man. That is a nice view, though. This is a steep scramble. This section right here on the final approach to Garfield Ridge tent site. I'm fairly certain, if I remember correct, this took me about an hour to get up on that snow strip. At least that's how it felt. I don't even know. I can't even picture. Obviously it looked completely different, but I'm boggling my own mind trying to figure out how I did this in snow, but it was probably just one smooth sheet. But if this is what I was thinking of, I think it was pretty slow going, and I did night hiking on that trip and I had to make mileage, so I know at one point there was a super steep section. I think this was it, but I forgot about Garfield Ridge campsite. Just might have to check that out. It's only a half mile. Pretty much at sunset now. Whew. Some steep stuff now, but look at that. We're finally getting level on some of those mountains way over there. It's way over there. Over there. Over there. The night hiking has begun. It is steep. It's going to be another long half mile. Pitch black except for the headlamp. And I really felt like I was in over my head. Well, anyway, let's get up this thing. Man, this is about half of it. It kind of goes around the bend there, and there's another section about this length. I just can't remember if it ends after this or not. Oh, thank God. All right, I'll take it. Garfield Trail, trailhead that way, which means a road. Definitely don't want that. So we're going to continue on the Appalachian Trail right over the top of Garfield, whether we like it or not. Oh yeah, this is it. So there used to be a fire tower here. Wow, look at this. Oh, I haven't been properly sticking to my 40 minutes on feet, 10 minutes off. I've taken a couple breaks, but I've cut them short and I've been too long in between. So I'm failing at that. And overall, it's probably making me slower, but this is great. So I think I'm going to go up to the tippy top of this. I got a very, very, very fancy snack that I've been looking forward to. .360 view. Look at that. Now it's time for an excellent snack. Care of Uncle Sam. Some crackers from God knows when, and peanut butter. Although I was kind of in the mood for the squeezy cheese, but peanut butter is pretty darn good too when you're hungry enough. Well, I heard the vacuum seal, so that's good. Oh yeah, here we go. Bone dry, but at least you won't die. Actually pretty good considering they've been in here for years. It's actually really good. Boom. Little energy to get me to camp. Should be just downhill from here on out. Kind kind of cool. You can actually see that hump in the middle is Owl's Head. And we kind of went up, not all the way up it, but cruised along in there. Didn't do the spur to the top. So we cut the tippy top off, came down over here, through the woods. I don't know if my finger's lining up there, through the woods, up there. A little white dot is the hut that we came from. That would be Galehead, we did the excursion to. Not the one in the background. That's the bonds and stuff way back there. But we did the excursion to that, came down, up and down all that stuff, up to here. We're going to continue along that way, and tomorrow we'll get up there. And that little pointy guy over there, both of those guys, that's our ending area. Kind of hard to talk now. Let me eat this, and then we'll head down. Pretty steep section for the last bit here. Kind of the opposite of what I've been doing. Now I'm going down, similar stuff. Once it starts to flatten out, I will keep my eyes peeled. You can't really see Garfield Pond super obvious. From what I remember, a couple times I've been there, it's like through the trees. So you got to kind of look out for it on the right. And then right around when you can see it through the trees, if you look to the left, you'll see a flat, more inviting looking area. And that's where there's room for camping. Now I'm speaking from the standards of finding a campsite in the Whites. By those standards, it's pretty large. You could definitely, even if another group was there, I could go in and find somewhere to put up my hammock. Definitely should be easier than finding a spot yesterday, unless it's super full, but midweek, I don't think so. Just got to get through these rocks onto the flat section. Bingo. I just caught what seems to be a reflection over there. I think we're in the spot. Now, don't worry, that's not where I plan on tent camping. There's a little clearing there, but somewhere around here, you can pick up a little path and cut left. Yeah, see the water a little bit there. I'll walk down to get it. Let's see here. Not going through that. If you start going uphill, it's too far. Ooh, this might be it. I don't think I picked the best path, but this is it. Yeah. Actually, I think this used to be the path, but this tree fell down here. Bunch of trees fell down here. It's comforting. I'll just try to pick somewhere decent, but I'm not going any further than this. If I remember correctly, you can keep going back here pretty far. This looks different. I think a storm lit this place up since I've been here. It's been 9 years. Wow. Huh. I think I better play it safe and put my pack down at a spot that I at least think I can do this. All these messed up trees. Yeah, actually, I think right here is it. At first I was thinking, well, at least the way I remember it being, this would be kind of in the middle, because I could have sworn there was more stuff over here, but not the case. It doesn't look like. I'm just going to strap up here. Now, the weird thing is that there's so many down trees, it makes you think about them coming down, right? But the good news is the ones that are standing apparently were the strong ones that survived either a microburst or something wicked coming off of the ridge there. So I think the trees that are standing that look healthy, obviously, are good. I just got to make sure there's nothing around that almost got knocked over that is waiting to get knocked over. And the only one I see really is this guy here, but he's leaning that way and looks like he's wedged in pretty good. He wouldn't come this way. So I'm going to set up between this tree and this one, I believe. Center my hammock right here in the middle. I'm just going to take it. It's funny, I keep hearing voices, they travel so well, but I doubt, maybe I was wrong. I know this is not a secret place by any means, but after the storm damage and how the trail was kind of covered up by that fallen tree and how easy it is to walk past the pond, it's probably less used than I think. So I don't know if anybody else will show up or not, but I'm going to get my straps up real quick so I can claim this. Do that right now. So you guys doing the full Pemi?
Huh?
You doing a full Pemi loop?
Oh yeah.
You did the bonds. You're going over to Franconia tomorrow?
Yeah.
Nice.
So excited to do Mount Lafayette.
Is this your first time doing stuff around in here?
This is our first time backpacking.
Oh, all right. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
You bit off a good portion for your first one. I like it.
What kind of hammock is that, if you don't mind me asking?
It's Dutchware.
I've heard of them before.
Yeah, they're based out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Then I got Eno because it's the cheapest.
I mean, if it works, it works. Mine's pretty simple. It's really just partial bug net. Okay, so if you're confused, yes, I do have some neighbors. They showed up a little after 5. I guess it's going on 5:30 now. They said, "Is this a stealth spot?" And I said, "Yeah." Kind of explained that it used to be a lot bigger, not anymore. They're doing a full Pemi loop. They're going the same direction as me tomorrow. And just told them, dude, just take the spot next to me. I don't care, because I know from experience that unless you want a night hike, I don't know where else you're going today, being 5:30. So, yeah, those are my neighbors. I went down, I got some water from the pond. Even there's a spot by the pond that's definitely like illegal. It's like right on the trail. You can see them from the trail. Even that little spot was taken. So they really were out of luck. So hopefully that helps them out. They seem like cool dudes. First backpacking trip ever, and they're doing a Pemi loop, so kudos to them. I'm just going to chill the night. Probably not going to show a whole lot of camp out of respect for my neighbors. I'm just going to play it low key, have some dinner, got the hammock set up, get some shut-eye, and yeah, that's day 2. We'll see where tomorrow brings us. Just a little cowboy coffee this morning. I'll heat this up, bring it to a boil, cut off the heat, let it sit a little bit. I'll choke this down, and then I'll quietly pack up my gear and we'll get on the trail. Try not to wake the neighbors. damp out here.
Morning.
How's it going?
Tired.
Sleep all right?
Huh?
Said sleep all right? Yeah.
It's different than, you know, a nice wooden platform, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, you eased yourself into it. You did your first night on platform.
Yeah, pillow definitely would have helped.
Yeah, they got some decent inflatable ones out there that don't weigh much. Even in the hammock, I do that. Just helps a little
I
bit.
just rolled up these pants because I knew I'd need them this morning.
Yeah, that's true. If you got spare clothing, that's makeshift pillows the way to go. It looks like it went down to like 44 degrees again last night. And it's only 46 now.
It's freaking chilly.
Yeah, and it's that dampness in the air too, because I woke up with some dew on my hammock, because I didn't put a tarp down or anything.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially with the tent, there's a lot.
Yeah, I believe it. All right, guys. Good luck.
You too. Have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, man. Don't forget the number 2 before you go above tree line. All right. Straight into the uphill. First view of the day. Poking through the trees, there's Garfield. You can kind of see the outline, at least I can, of the fire tower rectangle up top, right between these 2 trees. That's where we came from yesterday afternoon, and we're pouring that elevation on already. There's a nice little view there too. Around 8 or 9 miles total today. 2,500 feet of elevation, which is 1,500 less than yesterday, but we gotta get up to Lafayette. That'll be around 4 miles from camp, and at 5,200 feet, it's the tallest peak on this loop. So the bulk of our entire elevation gain today, most of our work, is going to be getting up on top of Lafayette over these next 4 miles. Then we got Lincoln, Liberty. If you were going back to my original start point, you would hit Flume. But if I went to that, it would be the Flume Slide Trail. And everything I've always read has said it's fine for going up, not a picnic or necessarily safe going down that. So I'm going to bounce off at Liberty. But I'll still give us 3 4,000 footers today. All right, back down so we can go up. Just running on my coffee so far, no breakfast. I got out at like 7:45 today. I just wanted to get at it. But honestly, my friends at camp, they were beat. And they went to bed before I even ate dinner last night. 6:30, they were in the tents. I was like, where are they? And they were already sleeping at 6:30. Sun's out. I was like, oh shoot, I don't want to make any noise. So I just took a little walk away from camp over to the pond. But I still ended up going to early bed with the sun still out. So I got a ton of sleep. Plus I figure if I was on my first backpacking trip with my buddy, I probably want some time at camp to shoot the breeze one-on-one before heading out. So I let them have it and I got at it. Gonna do the water break. That's my water. It looks a little yellow because I didn't add my neutralizing tablet that turns it clear and gets rid of the taste, but the iodine taste, that is, but it's not that bad. I'm not going to take the time to cook, so I'm going to do a favorite activity that I've shown in other videos that drives some people nuts. I'm going to eat dry ramen. That's right. Take it out of the package, or actually leave it in the package, You bust it up. You put the salt packet in there, because believe me, I need to replace some electrolytes and salts. And you eat it like chips. Give myself 10 minutes till I got 8 left. Get back on the trail. Just got passed by somebody. Asked me if I seen any water. I said not since Garfield Pond. And he looked pretty disappointed. I don't know where he's coming from, but I think water is over for quite some time. So I'm going to be conservative with my water. I got about a liter there, and then I got a small bottle on the side there. So be careful with that. Eat my snacks. Try not to drop any little morsels for the critters, and get back on the trail. Oh man, there we go. I'm waiting to see one of these signs. Not just on this trip, but in general, it's been far too long. Welcome to the Alpine Zone. No camping unless on 2 feet of snow. Yeah, won't be doing that right now. No campfires, etc. All right, here we go. And welcome to a day of false summits. Get to the top of it, see what's next. Rinse, repeat, until either your soul is broken or your knees. Just kidding, it's fun. Yep, as predicted. The next one. See if there's any mileage descriptors on this trail intersection sign here. Not that I really want to know, but let's see. Route 3 parking, 4 miles. Nope. Galehead Hut, that's where we came from, 6 miles. Not going back there. 0.8 to Lafayette. Doesn't sound like much, right? It's going to take me a while, trust me. Actually, you know, I was just taking a break down there with my ramen noodles, and another person came by, a viewer who recognized me, and man, he said he's been coming up here every year, does a 1-day Pemi, and I think he said he's been doing it the majority of his life. He drove up from South Shore, Boston, left at 2:30 this morning. He's knocking out the full Pemi, and then he's driving back home. And he does that once a year. And he's 62, and he looked like he was doing just fine. And he's doing it in 1 day. So I will refrain from any complaints for the rest of this hike now that I think about it. Shout out to that dude. All right. With that inspiration or humbling, however you want to take it, I'm going to go for the next pile of rocks here. Another hut down there. Name escapes me. Greenleaf, maybe? I forget. So don't quote me on that, but look at that slide coming off the back side of that ski lodge. That's pretty sick. Whew. You know what else is pretty sick? We're going up there. Is that the summit of Lafayette or not? Could be 5,200 feet. What do you think? We are truly on the summit. Highest peak of the trip. on to Lincoln. I'll tell you what though, it is cold without the sun, and it is blocked out by these clouds over here now. My fingertips are already a little chilly. Nothing terrible, but I can only imagine with a little extra wind and 15 degrees cooler weather like that first day, probably wouldn't have been too fun. Oh, I guess it would have been all right. Just would have put those layers on that I packed in that I didn't need, but honestly, for a few ounces, just to have the extra precaution in the whites, highly recommend it. As well as Mount Washington Observatory higher summits forecast. It does deal primarily with the summits above 5,000 feet, so it's still a good gauge for your worst case scenario. I found that to be very useful over the years compared to just a regular forecast. They have some of the best meteorologists there are that do stints up there. They'll actually live up there during the winter, but they do really good write-ups every morning at like 4 a.m. or something like that. Oh, look at that. That's our next challenge. You can see the little hump behind it. Guess I can take my sunglasses off now that the sun is gone. It was nice for a little bit up there though. I see the Forest Service has installed this nice eyesore to protect people from going on the vegetation. It's nice, looks good. It's dirty. Slightly ironic, but I guess they were having problems. First time I've seen that though. Quite frankly, it's kind of ugly. It's
Slightly ironic.
path ahead actually looks pretty good. Looks like almost a little windy dirt trail on top of the ridge. Hopefully that's what it really is. That's how it looks, but not quite to that dirt section without some work, right? Ooh. Come on, dirt. My legs have had enough for now. It's right there. Just gotta get past this. Okay. Oh, well, this is definitely a trail. There's an AT blaze, which we're going southbound on now. All right, well, maybe it's a mix of rock and dirt, but I'll take it. It's definitely easier to navigate. We're really putting it all behind us now. We got Lincoln out of the way. We're going back into the trees for a bit. See what the view from the top of Liberty is. We actually got some pretty brutally steep downhill here, so this is slowing me down a bit. There's some views poking out though, here and there. We're basically just in a little channel of rocks cutting through these dense trees. So slow going, at least to be safe when you got a little weight on your back. It's me making excuses, but safety first, people. We are getting there. Third of a mile to Liberty Springs campsite. We don't want that. Mount Liberty we do. All right, third of a mile to that as well. And once we get to the top of that, we'll be truly getting some downhill. But right now, third of a mile. Please don't leave your pack unattended. It has taken numerous packs this season. Bear alert. Oh boy. Okay, well, on that note, I got a little bit of water. probably not regret this, but I'm going to skip the tent site, which I'm sure has a spring. I'm just going to do this 1/3 of a mile to Liberty and then cruise downhill. I should be okay. And if it does cross water, I'll grab some, but I've been rationing. The time is 1:01. I sent a spot message to my wife. I told her 2:30. Let's see if we can actually get this done in an hour and a half. Probably not, but whatever. Here comes the scramble right at the end. Wow, look at that. One more little hump onto that cliff face there and see what the distance is to the pickup point, which is down there. All right, let's go.
Is that the trail?
Yeah,
Or is this the trail?
maybe that's an easier way. There is a blue blaze at the top of this.
All right, we'll go that way.
It was a little sketch.
Sketch.
Oh. Well, I went the wrong way, but I caught it. Via my map. I messed up. When I got to the Liberty Spring tent site sign, I was thinking that my trail was off of Mount Liberty. It's not. It's past Liberty tent site, 2 miles to the vehicle. So I just did the summit 3rd mile and I came down a bit off of it. I'm probably around my thumb there. The person I passed back there said, "Is this the trail?" And I said, "Yeah, there's a blue blaze up top." And then it just dawned on me, I'm supposed to be on the AT the whole way back to the trailhead where I'm getting picked up. So white blazes, AT. Blue blazes, primary trails, but not the AT. So we're going back up to the summit of Liberty and then down it and back to that tent site. Now it's 1:30 and I am below the summit on the wrong side, but that's cool. With a little focus and mental fortitude, we'll be right back at that intersection in no time. See, wasn't so bad. Piece of cake, right? Yeah, I already know. Bear alert. Well, at least this means I can get some water. Bears have been stealing unattended packs frequently this season. This includes incidents at this exact location. Please don't leave your pack here. Yeah. So what's happening is a lot of people not using the tent site to camp at, but they're using it as a water source for the Pemi loop, which is very popular. Who wants to carry your pack up and down for no reason? You know, like me. So they're leaving their packs there, and probably a lot of people, because it's prime time for Pemi season. And a bear has learned, I'm going to get that pack. It's making me think, I'm going to get that cheeseburger. So I am really starting to think about that now. I am down to 1 pack of dry ramen noodles, and I'm just not in the mood to do it again. As great as it was earlier, I'm saving these calories for a burger. A cheesy burger. And I'm really out of small snacks. Had a couple beef sticks already. I got one more, but I don't know. Other than that, I'm kind of low on food. That's convenient. Oh man, that's going to be good. feels pretty good to have some water. My legs are getting a little tired of navigating down boulder fields like that. But, you know, I'm thinking pretty soon it should start to transition into more of a dirt trail, as it typically does when you get 2 miles or less from a trailhead in the White Mountains, which we are now. So hopefully soon the trail will soften up. Come on, dirt. Pine needle soft dirt. I don't know if that's really in the cards or not, but I'm hoping for it. Oh, yeah, legs are getting tired. This is just a relentless, relentless rock pile. And it has been, has to have been a mile now. I hope it has been. It's, yeah, it just won't stop. And now we're into loose rocks on top of big rocks. Maybe I'm just burnt out from doing that double summit for no reason. But I feel like this is pretty mentally and physically intensive footwork going on right now. Man, that took it out of me. First time I've ever done Liberty Springs Trail, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the old Liberty Springs Trail. Yeah. But I see pavement and another trail sign. Doesn't look like a parking lot, unfortunately. Cascade Brook Trail, 50 yards. My wife gave me till 3:30, so she's probably wondering where I am, plus wondering if I have a moose photo or not, which I don't have, so nobody bring that up, okay? Okay. 0.6 miles uphill here to get to the parking area by Flume Gorge.
I hope he's coming this way.
You did it again.
I did.
Oh my God. I was just thinking, I was like, you know what? I should have went to the Flume Gorge Visitor Center on this bike path down there.
Oh, I'm glad you did it. Yay, welcome back.
Thank
made
you.
it.
We did it. How far is the Jeep?
It's not far.
It's confirmed. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I hope you enjoyed this trip. Oh my God. Organic cucumber water.
Or-
Not Alani. Neither one's a sponsor, but both are delicious. All right. Yeah, I'm running at a major calorie deficit, so thank you for joining me on this one. But right now, I'm gonna go replace some of those calories. So until next time, I'm Syntax77, and right now, it's cheeseburger time.